Good morning, students. Hope all of you are fine. Beta, today we will start theme 9 of part 2 of your history book. And name of this theme is Kings and Chronicles. So in this chapter, particularly this is the time period of the Mughal courts of 16th and 17th centuries. Now the first thing that like name of the chapter is Kings and the Chronicles. About kings means the rulers, and what do we mean by the chronicles? Beta, when all the court proceedings those are recorded chronologically, so those documents are known as chronicles. And chronological orders means in whatever type the all the events are taking place in the same way those are recorded. So this is known as the chronological order. As you know that in this chapter particularly we are talking about the Mughal courts. So the monarchs of the Mughal Empire, they saw themselves as the ultimate rulers of a large and heterogeneous populace. Heterogeneous means because the people they belong to different criteria. So although this grand vision was often circumscribed by actual political circumstances, it remained important. So this was the one way of transmitting this vision was through the writing of dynastic histories. That is why now these Mughal rulers they started writing their histories. The Mughal king commissioned court historians to write accounts of their achievements. Like if you remember in the previous chapter was peasant jamidars and the states. In that also we have read about the Akbarnama, right? And that Akbarnama was also divided in the Manzil Abadi and Sipahi Abadi. But by chance now this chapter is not part of your syllabus. I'm just giving this example that if you remember about that. So all these writings those were just to make other aware about the different dynasties. So these accounts recorded the events of the emperor's time, and their writers collected vast amount of information from the regions of the subcontinent to help the rulers govern their domain. Means in all these documents everything was written every information was recorded very carefully. And modern historians writing in English they have termed this term of text chronicles. Like I told you about, now the modern historians they called all these texts as chronicles as they present a continuous chronological record of events. Chronicles are an indispensable source for any scholar wishing to write a history of the Mughals. So at one level they were a repository of factual information about the institution of the Mughal state. They collected and classified by individual closely connected with the court. Now all this information that we read today about the Mughal court, it was collected and classified by the people who were closely connected to the Mughal courts. So at the same time, these texts were intended as the conveyors of meaning that the Mughal rulers they just wanted to impose on their domain. So all these chronicles they give us a glimpse into how imperial ideologies were created and disseminated. Though in this chapter we will look at the working of this rich and fascinating dimension of the Mughal Empire. Now, the very first topic is the Mughals and their empire. The name Mughal derives from Mongol. Though today the term evokes the grandeur of an empire, it was not the name the rulers of the dynasty choose for themselves. Actually, now we call it Mughals, but At early time, this was not the name for that dynasty. They referred themselves as Timurids because they were the descendant of the Turkish ruler Timur on the paternal side. That is why they were known as the Timurids. Babur, the first Mughal ruler, was related to Chengiz Khan from his mother's side. He spoke Turkish and referred derisively to the Mongols as barbaric hordes. You have read this chapter about the Chengiz Khan, the nomadic empire, in class 11. So now this first Mughal ruler Babur, from his mother's side, he was the descendant of Chengiz Khan. During the 16th century, Europeans used the term Mughal to describe the Indian rulers of this branch of the family. So firstly, this word Mughal, it was used by the Europeans. And over the past centuries, the word has been frequently used. Even the name Mowgli, the young hero of Rudyard Kipling's Jungle Book, is derived from it. So the empire was carved out of a number of regional states of India. Now, how this Mughal empire was carved? It was formed. Regional states of India, those were conquered by these people to frame the Mughal empire. These regional states of India, these were conquest and political alliances between the Mughals and the local chieftains. The founder of the empire, Jahiruddin Babur, was driven from his Central Asian homeland, Farghana. It means sometime if question can be asked that from which place Babur belonged, so our answer will be Farghana. So he was the founder of the Mughal Empire. He first established himself at Kabul and then in 1526 pushed further into the Indian subcontinent in search of territories and resources to satisfy the needs of the member of his clan. So the first place of him Babur was Kabul, and he further extended his territories towards the Indian subcontinent. His successor Nasiruddin Humayun expanded the frontiers of the empire but lost it to the Afghan leader Sher Shah Sur, who drove him into exile. Humayun took refuge in the court of the Safavid ruler of Iran. In 1555, Humayun defeated the Surs but died a year later. This Mughal ruler Humayun, he died in an accident. He just slipped from the staircase of his library. Then Humayun died. Right? Many considered Jalaluddin Akbar the greatest of all the Mughal emperors, for he not only expanded but also consolidated his empire. Jalaluddin Akbar, he made this empire the largest, strongest, and the richest kingdom of his time. As you know, if we talk about these Mughal rulers, first 6 rulers, those are known as the Great Mughals. After that, Mughal empire, it started weakening. So Akbar succeeded in extending the frontiers of the empire to the Hindu Kush mountains and checked the expansionist designs of the Uzbeks of Turan and the Safavids of Iran. Akbar, he had 3 fairly able successors, Jahangir, Shah Jahan and Aurangzeb, much as their characters varied. Means now if you will see, we started from Babur, then Humayun, then Jalaluddin Akbar. Afterward, the 3 successors Jahangir, Shah Jahan and Aurangzeb. Beta, these 6 Mughal rulers, these are known as the Great Mughals. Whether their characters were different. Under them, The territorial expansion continued. The three rulers maintained and consolidated the various instruments of governance, and even during the 16th and 17th centuries, the institutions of an imperial structure were created. These included effective methods of administration and taxation. You know, these fiscal policy of Mughal Empire, those were very significant. If we talk about the new system of land measurement was introduced during Mughal time. Mansabdari system was introduced during this time. With that, the tax collection policy was introduced during this time, and recording system, recording of event, it was also introduced during Mughal time. So, the visible center of Mughal power was the court. Here, political alliances and relationships were forged, status and hierarchies were defined. The political system devised by the Mughals was based on a combination of military power and conscious policy to accommodate the different traditions they encountered in a subcontinent. After 1707, following the death of Aurangzeb, the power of the dynasty diminished. The same thing I was telling you, that these 6 Mughal rulers, they were known as the Great Mughals. During the reign of these 6 rulers, their territories expanded. So, but after death of Aurangzeb, now the power of this dynasty, it start diminishing, it start decreasing. In place of the vast apparatus of empire controlled from Delhi, Agra or Lahore, the different capital cities' regional powers acquired greater autonomy. Yet symbolically, the prestige of the Mughal ruler did not lose its aura. In 1857, the last section of this dynasty, Bahadur Shah Zafar, he was overthrown by the British. As we have read in that chapter also, Rebels and the Raj, right? So till that time, whether the Mughal Empire existed, but it would, at that time Mughal Empire was not that strong. So beta, this was the topic for today. Other topic we will discuss in next lecture. Hope till now you have understood well this topic. Thank you and have a nice day.